Hello? Who is this?
The movie begins at a party. We see our main character, a woman named Emily. She is standing with a man named David, who is a painter. When Emily returns home from the party, she meets her husband, Stephen. Stephen is already dressed up and ready to go out. He is a very rich and successful businessman. Tonight, there is a very important party, and he wants Emily to go with him. He tells her to wear her favorite dress. Stephen is a man who likes everything to be perfect. He wants things done exactly his way, and he is very strict about this. While Emily is getting ready, she tries to make a phone call to David secretly, but the call does not connect. Later, at the party, Stephen is talking to one of his business partners. He finds out some bad news. He learns that his company is in big trouble and losing money. However, Stephen acts like everything is fine. He says it is just a rumor and not true. Originally, Stephen was not supposed to come to this party. Because of this, Emily and David had made a plan to meet there secretly. They thought they would be alone. But now, Stephen is there too. Emily whispers to David that she tried to call him to warn him, but she couldn't. David says they should pretend they don't know each other. But their plan fails. Stephen sees them talking. Emily has no choice, so she introduces David to her husband. She says, "This is David. He is a very talented painter." Stephen smiles and says, "I would love to see your paintings. I have many rich friends, and I can show your work to them." He asks Emily to give him David's phone number. Stephen is smart. By looking at them, he already understands that something is wrong. In the next scene, we see Stephen in his office. He looks very worried and lost in thought. On the other hand, Emily and David continue their love affair. Emily loves being with David. She buys him many expensive gifts because she is wealthy. They are very close. Suddenly, David gets a message on his phone. It is from Stephen. Stephen says, "I want to meet you." Emily gets scared. She says, "Maybe he knows about us." But David says, "That is not possible." Stephen acted normal. He didn't look suspicious. So David agrees to meet him. Before he goes, he asks Emily, "If you are so worried, why did you give him my number?" Emily says, "I didn't give it to him. Stephen knows a lot of people. He found it by himself." They meet at a bar in the evening. After talking, David takes Stephen to his studio to show him his art. Stephen looks at the paintings and says, "These are very bad. I can see a lot of anger in your art." Then, Stephen stops pretending. He says, "I know you are having an affair with my wife." David tries to explain. He says, "We both love each other." Stephen laughs and says, "Love has nothing to do with it. I know who you really are." Stephen reveals that he has investigated David. He knows that when David was a child, he used to steal things. When he grew up, he became a conman, a person who tricks people for money. He finds rich women, pretends to love them, and then runs away with their money. Stephen says, "Everything you told Emily is a lie." David is shocked that Stephen knows everything. He asks, "What do you want from me?" Stephen says, "I will give you $500,000, but you have to do one job. You have to kill my wife, Emily." David is terrified. He asks, "What if I say no?" Stephen replies, "I know about the last woman you tricked. I have all the proof. If you say no, I will give this to the police. You will go to jail for 30 years. David feels trapped. He agrees to do the job. Stephen tells him to come to his office later to get some money in advance. To make sure he is safe, Stephen comes up with a plan. He writes a letter to himself. Inside the letter, he puts photos of David and Emily together. He mails it to his office. If something goes wrong later, people will find this letter. They will think David was blackmailing Stephen, which gives Stephen a reason to meet with him. That night, Emily is with her friend, Raquel. She tells Raquel that she is not happy with Stephen. She says Stephen controls her whole life, and she feels trapped. She tells her friend about David. Raquel asks, "You are very rich. Does David know about your money?" Emily says, "No, David is not interested in money. He only loves me. When Emily goes home, Stephen tells her a lie. He says, I met David. I offered to buy one of his paintings. He wants to see her reaction. The next day, Emily asks David about this. David lies too. He does not tell her about the murder plan. He just says, yes, he wants to buy my art. The next day, David goes to meet Stephen to get the money. Stephen explains the murder plan very carefully. He shows David how to enter the house without being seen by security cameras. He says, tonight, I will go out to play cards. Before I leave, I will take Emily's house key from her purse. I will hide it under a water pipe outside the back door. He tells David to use that key to get inside. He says, after you kill Emily, put the key back in her pocket. The police will think a thief broke in, got scared, and killed her. No one will suspect us. The next evening, Emily goes to meet David. Suddenly, Stephen shows up there too. He invites himself to have dinner with them. Emily is surprised and uncomfortable. Stephen notices something. He asks, where is your wedding ring? Emily realizes she left it at David's house. She lies and says, it was broken. I left it at the shop to get fixed. I will pick it up tomorrow. Stephen makes a scary joke. He says, what will you do if you don't get it back tomorrow? Emily feels strange. After dinner, Stephen drives Emily home. David watches them leave. He feels angry and guilty. He goes home and destroys a painting he made of Emily. Emily calls David later. She apologizes and says, I am sorry Stephen came to dinner. I couldn't call you. She is upset. She says, I cannot live like this. I am going to tell Stephen the truth tonight. David gets scared because the murder is supposed to happen tonight. He says, no, don't do anything tonight. Wait until tomorrow. That night, Stephen and Emily had plans to go out, but Stephen tricks her. He knows she prefers to stay home, so he makes her stay. Everything is going according to Stephen's plan. Emily is alone in the house. Late at night, a man enters through the back door using the key Stephen hid. To get Emily to go to the kitchen, Stephen calls the house phone from his card game. But Emily is busy and does not hear the phone. The killer has to wait in the dark. A few minutes later, Stephen calls again. This time, Emily hears it. She goes to the kitchen to answer the phone. Suddenly, the man attacks her. They fight for a long time. Emily is fighting for her life. She grabs a sharp object from the kitchen counter and stabs the man in the neck. The man falls down and dies. Later, Stephen comes home. He expects to see his wife dead. He acts shocked. He checks the bedroom and sees Emily. She is covered in blood, but she is alive. She is crying and calling the police. Stephen is terrified because his plan failed. He runs to the kitchen and sees the dead body on the floor. To save himself, he searches the dead man's pockets. He finds the house key that he hid under the pipe. He quickly puts the key into Emily's purse so the police won't find it on the killer. Then, he breaks the lock on the back door to make it look like a forced entry. The police arrive. Everyone thinks it was a robbery gone wrong. But there is a very smart detective named Muhammad. He watches Stephen closely. He asks, why were you standing over the dead body? What were you doing? Stephen lies and says, I was checking if he was alive. The police take the mask off the dead man's face. Stephen is shocked. It is not David. It is a stranger. Stephen looks very confused. Detective Muhammad notices Stephen's strange reaction. At the police station, they ask Emily questions, but she doesn't know anything. Suddenly, Muhammad gets a phone call about his sick son. He speaks in his own language. Emily understands him because she speaks that language too. She speaks to him kindly. Muhammad likes her and trusts her. Emily goes to stay with her mother to recover from the shock. Stephen tells her, rest well. Tomorrow you will forget everything. Emily gets chills. She remembers Stephen said those exact words before the attack. She starts to doubt him. While Emily is away, Stephen calls David. They meet in a park. Stephen is angry. He asks, who was that dead man? David admits, I couldn't kill her. I hired a professional killer to do it. Stephen warns him to stay quiet. A few days later, Emily makes a decision. She tells her mother she is leaving Stephen. Her mother supports her. This is a big problem for Stephen. We find out the real reason for the murder plan. Stephen's company is bankrupt. He has no money left. But Emily has a trust fund worth $100 million. If she divorces him, he gets nothing. If she dies, he gets all the money. Emily goes to her house to pack her things. She tries to open the door with her key, but it doesn't work. She has to get the doorman to open it for her. This makes her suspicious. She talks to her friend Raquel. Raquel says, "If Stephen finds out about the affair, he might kill you." Emily asks, "Why?" Raquel says, "For money." Emily investigates and finds out Stephen is broke. She realizes Stephen tried to kill her for the inheritance. Emily goes to Detective Muhammad. She tells him everything. Muhammad says, "I suspected Stephen from the start, but he has an alibi. However, there is one strange thing. The dead killer had no keys in his pocket. A man always carries his house keys." Emily looks at the police file. She finds the address of the dead killer. Meanwhile, David is scared Stephen will kill him. He decides to blackmail Stephen. He recorded their conversation about the murder plan. He calls Stephen and says, "I have the recording. If you don't give me $400,000, I will go to the police." Emily goes to the dead killer's apartment. She tries her own house key in his door. It opens. She finally understands what happened. Stephen took the key from the dead man's pocket and put it in her purse. He thought it was her house key, but actually the killer had put the house key back under the pipe, so the key in his pocket was his own apartment key. Now Emily has proof. Stephen gets the money and goes to his office. Emily is waiting there. She confronts him. She asks, "Why was the killer's key in my purse? Did you try to kill me?" Stephen makes up a new lie. He shows her the photos he mailed to himself. He says, "David was blackmailing me. I paid him to stay away. I thought the dead man was David. I planted the key to protect you from a scandal." He shows her the file about David's criminal past. Emily is heartbroken. She realizes David is a liar and a conman. She feels stupid for trusting him. Stephen says, "I will fix everything. Don't worry." Stephen goes to meet David to give him the money. He tells David to run away. David takes the money and gets on a train. He thinks he is safe. But once the train starts moving, Stephen appears in his cabin. He attacks David and kills him. Before he dies, David laughs and says, "You lost." He tells Stephen that he already mailed a copy of the tape to Emily. Stephen panics. He rushes home to get the mail before Emily sees it. He asks the doorman, who says Emily already picked up the mail. Stephen runs upstairs. He sees the pile of mail is unopened. He is relieved. He finds the package with the tape and hides it in his safe. When Emily comes into the room, Stephen acts nice. He puts her wedding ring back on her finger and says, "Let's go for dinner." He goes to take a shower. While he is in the shower, Emily checks his bag. She finds nothing. Then she checks the safe. She finds the money and the tape. She plays the tape. She hears Stephen's voice planning her murder. Now she knows the truth. Stephen comes out of the shower. Emily tries to act calm. She says, "We need to change the locks. My key is still missing." She pretends to leave. Stephen thinks he needs to get the key he hid under the pipe to keep up his lie. He opens the back door and takes the key from under the pipe. Emily is watching him. She says, "I knew it." Stephen realizes he is caught. He says, "You can't prove anything. I have all the evidence." Emily tries to run. Stephen attacks her. He throws her to the ground and tries to kill her. They fight violently. Emily manages to reach for a gun. She shoots Stephen. He falls down and dies. Emily calls the police. She gives the tape to Detective Muhammad. Muhammad tells her, "You had no choice. It was self-defense." Emily is safe now and she will not go to jail. This is where the movie ends. I hope you liked this simple explanation of the story. If you did, please like the video and leave a comment. I share many movie stories like this, so please subscribe to the channel to see more. We will meet again with a new interesting story. Thank you for watching. Take care and goodbye.